Welcome to another episode of Pound for Pound Boxing Report, episode 168. I'm 168, excuse me. I'm your host, Michael. Joining me this week, Daniel from the Inscriber, Gail from Communities Digital News. What's going on, lady and gent?
What's happening?
I'm expecting some more guests to come in on the show during the show shortly. For those who are new to Pound for Pound Boxing Report, Pound for Pound Boxing Report, live YouTube show, podcast, and blog discussing all things boxing. The motto is when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. Concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find out all information regarding Pound for Pound Box Report, please go to the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. You check the right of the page, you'll find links to pages on G+, YouTube, Tumblr, and Twitter. Also, links where to listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Player FM, Stitcher Radio. And before we get the show started tonight, Jacob from Jab Hook Boxing, he's a regular guest on the show. Fortunately, he will not be able to join us tonight. He had a death in the family. I believe his grandfather passed away, so I want to send condolences to him. Condolences, thoughts, and prayers to him and his family. Let's get the show started tonight. Recapping what went down. Big bout, of course, took place in Wembley Stadium in London. Anthony Joshua defending his IBF belt against Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko coming off of a 1.5-year layoff. Heck of a fight. One of the better heavyweight fights that I've seen in years. Takes a while to remember a heavyweight title fight that good. Joshua, in my estimation, had the advantage, controlling the pace. Klitschko couldn't get the punches off quite yet, but in round 5, that really kicked things off. Joshua came out with fire, put Klitschko down, but Klitschko, to his credit, he got up. He got up fighting. Had Joshua hurt. Joshua was fatigued at the end. Klitschko continued the comeback in round 6, put him down with a terrific right hand. Joshua got up. He was basically dead man walking at the end of round 6. But to Joshua's credit, he evaded the power shots of Klitschko, in my opinion. Klitschko could have done slightly more, but he didn't. I think he spent too much time trying to set up Joshua and land a big shot. He let Joshua get his second win. Round 11, Joshua came out again with fire, put Klitschko down, hurt him early, put him down, and this time him off. A terrific fight, a clear candidate for Fighter of the Year. Like as I said earlier, best heavyweight fight, best heavyweight title fight I've seen in a long time. I mean, a real long time. I'll go to you, Daniel. I see Gail. She stepped out. Hopefully she'll join us later on. But I did a live show on the Saturday, Daniel, immediately following the bout. It's been a few days now since that fight. I did a live show immediately after the bout was over. In the days afterwards, after I'm assuming watching the bout a few times. I mean, I've watched it. I've watched it every day, multiple times a day. I go to you, Daniel. After you had a few days to watch the fight and ponder what went down, your impressions of the fight.
Oh man, I spoke about this yesterday with Joe and Francis. Like I said, I'll post the thing up later on, but I broke down the fight into 3 acts. First, it was like the first 3 or 4 rounds. They were both trying to feel each other. They were trying to see who was going to win. Like, you could tell that Klitschko was a lot leaner. You could tell he was going to move a little bit more. While Joshua was starting to try to set up the jab a little bit, set up the combinations, and looked really well. Like I said, it didn't shape up like what some people thought with Klitschko, that it was just going to be him trying to hold or trying to lean in Joshua throughout the fight. And then the 5th round came. The second act of the fight. Joshua comes in, guns blazing immediately, knocks Klitschko down, knocks him down in a way where it almost feels like he was about done. But the way Klitschko came back and the way you could see that Joshua was pretty tired, he tired himself out from that barrage. And in the sixth round, when he himself knocked Joshua down, for the next 3 or 4 rounds, he became a ring general until round 9 and round 10, where Joshua did get his second win. And then the 11th round, that was just, like I said, I haven't been reminded of something like that since Morales Zaragoza, where you just saw the young guy eventually knock down the old guy and went long live. I think Lamptey put it best: "The king is dead. Long live the king."
Yeah, changing of the guard in short.
Yeah, and it was a really, really. That fight did not lose any appeal of it. On Saturday, I called it a classic fight, and I said in an era where that word gets used very, very loosely, it's earned that right because we haven't seen a heavyweight fight like that in a long time. Whether it's the crowd atmosphere, whether it was the level of competition, whether it's mainly what was the significance of the fight. We haven't seen that in a long time. And everything lived up to expectations, if not exceeded it. And like I said, even to this day, like I said, you can watch the HBO broadcast, you can watch the Showtime broadcast. Each had their own little feel. I will admit the HBO broadcast had weirder camera angles than the Showtime feel. But then they got the interview. They got the interviews with Joshua and they got the interviews with Klitschko. Showtime had to wait on Sky Sports to do it. It was a brilliant, brilliant event. It lived up to the hype. And if anything, like I said, we've seen some fights lately. Like we can mention the whole Triple G Jacobs card, but with Chocolatito Runcevai. We've seen lately fights where the loser may come out better. And this is one of those occasions. Klitschko, in the end, probably came out better for this in a way than Joshua, because a lot of people thought Joshua did what he was supposed to do, knock out the old man. But the way Klitschko fought, compared to the way he fought before, it just set the tone.
I see Bo has joined us from Truth and Facts About Boxing. Thanks for joining us. I'll go to you, Gail. Daniel mentioned round 5. I mentioned round 5. Um, to me, that was Bo Holyfield, or Holyfield Bo, excuse me, round 10 of their first fight. That's what that reminded me of. Um, could be argued that this is the best heavyweight title fight since Bo Holyfield won. Um, and to Daniel's point, and I wrote about this on Twitter immediately after the fight. Um, Even in a loss, and in the post-fight conference, Klitschko kind of acknowledged this, that even in the loss, Klitschko gained so much because of how he fought. If he had fought with that kind of vigor and that kind of intensity against Fury, I could argue he would have beat Fury. He was so messy, he was so mundane. He seemed like he got hit with a tranquilizer dart before somebody put a tranquilizer drug or something in his water before the fight because he had nothing. Um, in this rematch, in this fight with Joshua, excuse me, you can tell when he came out in the ring, his ring walk, he meant business. He wasn't messing around. He was walking ahead of his handlers, his trainer, and his brother and whatnot, uh, and got in the ring first before anybody. So he wanted it bad. But at the end of the day, as I was saying, it was a changing of the guard. You have to be impressed how Joshua was able to go through the storm, uh, how he was able to adjust. Uh, and you saw the little subtleties in his game as the fight progressed, particularly after he got knocked down in round 6 that helped him survive. Um, and he showed that it factor in round 11. It was like he sensed the moment. He knew the fight was close and he had to do something to secure the win. He came out the first 5 seconds, boom, right hand. Um, then that uppercut from hell nearly snapped the neck of Klitschko off straight off his head, and he finished him off there. So overall, that's what made it such a good fight, Gail. The way Klitschko came out and fought with fire, uh, the metal that Joshua showed, combined with the skill, and as I said earlier, just a fantastic fight overall. Just a fantastic fight.
You absolutely couldn't have scripted it better in Hollywood. It was perfect from start to finish. And on this show and in many other places, so many of us were saying, well, it's a very significant fight. Don't expect too much. Might be boring. Might be a clinch fest. You don't get your hopes up. Thank God we were wrong. Thank God. I do think Klitschko had been hit by a tranquilizer dart in recent years. I think it was the tranquilizer dart of boredom. He'd done everything. He didn't see significant challenges in front of him. I think he completely disregarded Tyson Fury. If this version of Klitschko had come out against Fury, the whole trajectory of the last few years could have been very, very different. Nevertheless, this is how it played out. A fire got lit under him. I've heard so many people say it looked like Vitalian there, not Vladimir, which is very interesting. He was enthused. He was trained as well as any 41-year-old champion could be, but youth was served at bottom line. And how fascinating was it to watch Anthony Joshua learning on the fly, growing up in the ring round by round. There are not a lot of fighters who go through a tough round, sit in the corner for a minute, assimilate everything that just happened to them in the last 3 minutes, and that knowledge suddenly, boom, is there, and then he uses it in later rounds. That is an amazing skill to have that much, on the fly thinking, processing power up in your head. That isn't the case for a lot of fighters. So because he lacks a deep amateur experience and because he is still relatively young, ring mileage wise at almost 28 years old, that is what's going to hold him in there and potentially make him a great champion. Lots of guys have the tools. Not everyone has the most important muscle available, which is the brain. And Joshua does. Joshua does. And we saw it. And it made for a damned exciting fight. And American promoters, we could do a whole show about how the British promoters, the British fans, everybody, the whole pipeline
Oh my
in the
God.
UK gets it. They get it.
They put us to shame, Gail. They put us to absolute shame.
Absolutely, they do. This was seen around the world. People who aren't, fans like we are, the casuals, the martial arts fans in general, the people who go see it in a bar, anybody who saw that fight, maybe they aren't a boxing fan, but they're a Joshua fan. They are now. And that is nothing but good for boxing. We on this show, many of us love the smaller weight divisions for a lot of reasons. There's a lot more action. There's a lot more skill set to see frequently. But there's no denying the excitement of the heavyweights. And damn, it's good to have an exciting heavyweight at the top of the division with lots and lots of options for great fights. I mean, it was just one of the best boxing weekends in a long, long time.
Indeed. Going to you, Bo. Continue on Gail's point about Joshua learning on the fly, about him able to process things in the ring. That's a special quality, Bo, because some fighters, they do that and they learn and they adjust fight to fight. He was able to do it minute to minute, round to round. It takes a sharp guy mentally. It takes a very, very good, if not great fighter to be able to adjust like that almost in there, especially when you're tired. So speak to that point and speak to also how, in my opinion, this was just perfect timing for the sport overall. Let's face it. If this was a a middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, flyweight, it wouldn't have got this kind of attention. It wouldn't have got that kind of crowd, drew that kind of crowd, excuse me. You need this kind of fight, and you need it in the heavyweight division to attract the masses, to attract the mainstream, the casuals. And to Gail's point about the show, all these guys who love MMA, no disrespect to them, you're not going to see that kind of spectacular show from beginning to end from the crowd, the pyro, those who produce the event overall in that regard. You're not going to see that. You only see that in boxing, particularly in that part of the world. So speak to all that I'm speaking about.
Well, here's the thing. The heavyweight division has always been the pinnacle of boxing.
Yes.
Heavyweight division has always been a focal point of boxing. When Muhammad Ali left, there was a void that needed filling. And that void was filled with the lightweight division and the absence of Muhammad Ali with the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Tommy Hearns, and all of that. And even as exciting as that was, it doesn't compare to when Tyson came on the scene. How exciting it got again when he came on. Like, as exciting as the Leonard era and all of that was, when Tyson came on the scene, everybody came out the woodworks to watch boxing because the heavyweight division is back, right? And that's what this fight did. What this fight did was it reminded everyone that the one division that is the king lion of the jungle is the heavyweight division. That's what it reminded everybody of. And I want to go to a point that you guys made. The timing of this fight was right, but here's what made the fight, in my opinion, interesting. In the Klitschko Fury fight, I think it outside the fact that maybe like Gail said, Klitschko had done it all. He didn't think Fury would give him a problem, but also Fury was just as tall and had just as long as arm reach, so that might have made him a little bit more hesitant. But in this fight, Klitschko pride was on the line because people was writing him off. They was pretty much saying, hey, this dude don't have it no more. He's not there. He's old man. Look at his performance against Fury. Nope, 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 and nope. They was writing him off. And the one thing you don't do is you never write off the king until you have officially taken his crown. And like Gail was saying, he was walking past his cornerman. I mean, his people in his corner, because he wanted everyone to know, I'm not done. And that was a fight that even Joshua needed, because if it would have been a clinch fest and Joshua won, it wouldn't get the credit that it's getting right now. He'd get the credit for winning, but the attention that it's gathering, it wouldn't get this attention. And the reason why Anthony Joshua was able to learn on the fly and learn round by round, because remember, he's been in them sparring camps with Vladimir Klitschko. He's been absorbing this knowledge from day one, from being in the camps with guys like Vladimir Klitschko, from talking, to the trainers and listening to the trainers and working with the other guys that have this mass amount of experience. So he's been absorbing this, like a sponge. And it all came into play, and it was the perfect, it was the perfect storm that couldn't have happened at the right time, because in an era where everybody was saying that boxing was dead because people want to blame the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight on the line, whatever. But in the era, where everybody, but in the era of that, we finally got a mega fight that lived up to the billing, exceeded that. We finally got, like, whenever there's a changing of the guard, you want it to be easy. You want it to be hard. You don't want it to be easy where the young guy comes in and blows out. You want it to be hard. That way you can respect the victory of the young guy that's taking that mantle. So it was everything boxing needed and more. 10 million people worldwide watched this fight. 10 million people worldwide watched this fight. So it was a great event. And to your point, Mike, it put us to shame, because it wasn't just an event, it was a spectacle. And it will go down in our memories forever. Like, even if you don't remember the who got knocked down in what round, you will remember the outcome of this fight. You remember the date of this fight. You remember the production of this fight. That fight from beginning This fight from beginning to end had nothing but memorable moments for you to remember for probably forever.
I see EJ Boxing Live has joined us. You'll join us live from the UK. Not only discuss the fight, EJ, but the significance of and the impact of Joshua's win in your country, not just immediately after the bout, but in the following days.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome you guys, Gail. Who was it? Gail, Daniel, and Bo, and also Mike, obviously. Yeah, man. I was just listening to all your points and stuff like that, and everything you're saying is dead on the money. Let me tell you something here. In our country, and especially in my side of the country, because Joshua actually lives like 30 minutes, 20 minutes from where I am actually stay. He lives in his mom's house. And let me tell you, sir, he's lifted the whole of the boxing world in just one fight over here in England. I'm talking about generation from grassroots amateurs, right? So we're the amateur gym. You know, you got kids coming to the gym saying, I want to be the next Anthony Joshua, right? It is such a for all us people on YouTube and doing boxing and stuff like that, exactly what you said. The heavyweight division is the crown jewel of the boxing. When the heavyweight division is good, the rest of the boxers is in a great state. And not only that, in terms of professional endorsements, that corporate what Mike Tyson used to get, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, all them, they will come to Anthony Joshua. He's already got Lucasade. He's got Under Armour. Under Armour is a quick and emerging one of the top brands in corporate world. He has that already. And I'll tell you what, in our country, it is huge. It is huge. And he's like all of a sudden, boxers have become like rock stars, bigger than football players. Just overnight, it's like, you know, football boxers that's like the in thing right now, and they made it fashionable. In the meaning of the stopper, I want to talk about the stoppage. Yeah, in the mean when the stoppage was right, a lot of people said it could have continued. The reason why I'm happy it didn't, it shows that in our sport, we're not trying to beat someone's brains out. You know what I'm saying? He got knocked down a couple of times. The referee was dead on stopping the fight there and then. And then leave Klitschko with, you know, with his dignity, where you can say, you know what, he got knocked down a couple of times. The referee gave him chances. And I understand why people want it to continue, but you got to remember, there's a lot of people watching now. You don't want Klitschko dying on TV. So I'm glad the fight got stopped when it did. And like I said to you, Anthony Joshua, they're looking for Anthony Joshua to fight 2 times a year. And it's not about the belts. You know, everyone's talking about the belts and stuff like that. He might have to vacate one. You think the fans going to care? They're not going to care. Anthony Joshua overnight is the number one, what you call it, A-side, cash cow, whatever you want to say it. Not only in his division, in the whole of boxing, like generate 90,000 people plus in an arena. HBO, Showtime. That's not the only third time in history they've come together. RTL, the German, and Sky, 3 of the major boxing companies were all on the event, even though it was showed later on. I think the last time like I said, the last time they did it was probably Manny and Pacquiao, and the time before that was Leonard. It was Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. But them 2 fights before wasn't better than this fight here. This fight, everything you'd want in a fight: young lion, old lion, knockdowns, comebacks, yeah, scenarios, who's gonna win. People, it was better than a bloody movie. Like I'm telling you, there's people come up to me because I was actually following the whole week. All right, I was in the hotel, the Hilton Hotel. It was next to the Wembley Arena and not too far from the stadium. And most of the fighters and celebrities were in the thing. I met Brian Gumbel from Showtime, Mario Morello, whatever his name is, him. Paulie was there. That was all the Showtime crew. They're at the hotel, not too far. Then obviously the HBO crew was there. I talked to Peter Nelson, head of HBO. Yeah, talking about, you know, I should have really asked him about the Stevenson fight, but that's another subject. Yeah. I talked to Freddie Roach like 4 hours in the lobby of the hotel. Yeah, I was taking pictures with everyone, the who's who. The only people I didn't get was Vladimir himself and obviously Anthony Joshua, but I took pictures of his wife and this and that, and everyone was talking about it. But I never thought, yeah, it would live up to the bill. It lived up and more. I mean, I've watched the fight nearly 6 or 7 times. And I'm still watching it now because every time I watch it, I see something different. In our country, the answer to your question, Mike, listen, that thing has lifted our country because maybe in our country hasn't won the World Cup, and maybe we haven't done a lot of things, but to have the heavyweight champion in our country, in our small little islands, yeah, to do that and have the whole world watching. It's not only boosted our country's confidence and how we are and how our outlook is, but it's boosted the world and what we can, what will come. And also the pyrotechnics you're talking about, Sky's been doing that from a while because we were doing it from Nassim Hamid, right? We're doing it from Nassim Hamid.
Not just
Yeah.
Hamid, going back to Eubank and Ben.
Yeah, we've been doing it for a long while, but remember, we never had heavyweight champions. So Sky's been putting them productions on for a long while, but the world got to see it with a heavyweight championship. And Joshua came out with Biggie Smalls, yeah. It was you know, he came up with some Biggie Smalls. He had the Muhammad Ali robe, class personified. Vladimir Klitschko come out with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers come out because Germany. Remember Germany? See what I'm saying? It was co-promotion. Germany been putting them in the shows before. So now you have the collaboration with two of the most entertaining and Europeans, most entertaining packages all on one thing. It was a co-promotion. So you had the two of them put together, and they put on just on that. It was like a rock concert going in there. You know, the fans. If you're a casual fan and you like music as well, just like that, when you go into that, it was like a concert, and then on top of that, you actually had a fight that lived up to it. Long live, the heavyweight division, and you like Bo Holyfield. All right, that wasn't. I didn't really, at the time because Mike Tyson. You talk about Mike Tyson going down. People tuned into this fight. I think they tuned in mostly halfway through until they heard about Joshua was down. Everyone must have found their TV. Where is it? Streams, wherever you can say, and see what's going on because they thought, his muscles, he's gonna die. He ain't that good. His chin, this, that, the other. He's like Bruno. Then you see him come back. You see Klitschko was down. Oh yeah, he's old. This, that, the other. In that one fight, the two of them redeemed both of themselves. Klitschko, in my opinion, should call it a day. If he continues, I don't see how he gets any better than that. That was the best Klitschko you ever see. And you know what the girls put? This is where I came on. When I heard we say about Vitali, that was like Vitali. That's exactly right. Never really thought about it. That was like Vitali, man. He was fighting like Vitali Klitschko, trying to keep his long run out there, but he couldn't keep off the young lion. The young lion got his second breath because nothing. I talked to James Ali Bashir, that's Klitschko's assistant trainer. He didn't throw a shot to the body. I think Emmanuel stood in the corner would have made a difference. He would have told him, you got him hurt, man. Throw one to the body, go to the head, and get him out of here. Get him out of here, man. Manny would have just tell him, get him out. We want to go over it. But he obviously, Jonathan Banks, he's a great guy and that, but a slight lack of experience there because when you get a man hurt, you have to go to the body to stop him from trying to regenerate himself. And Klitschko was throwing left hooks to the head, and Joshua could see it wild out, was making the miss. And them sort of punches was tiring Klitschko out himself, but Klitschko was still, in my opinion, I was picking up a few rounds, and Joshua, bang, round 11, came at him, bang, 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 dude, but the uppercut from hell, send his head up to orbit and back down on his shoulders. When he saw the uppercut, listen, Klitschko read the jab, the right hand, the left hook, he read that nicely. He didn't, because Joshua didn't throw the uppercut the whole fight. That uppercut was perfect, and that's the same uppercut he knocked out Dillian White with. The right uppercut. What a beautiful shot. Set up the whole sequence, and then Klitschko went down, and the referee did the right job of stopping the fight. Thus, there with Vladimir in the corner. We didn't have to see him. We see him go down a couple of times, but at least he stood up on his feet, so it wasn't a bad. But that, for our country, it put our country on the map. We legit, and it legitimize all of our other world champions in our country to say that we only got the most world champions. Now we have the heavyweight champion, unified heavyweight champion, and he is legit. He is legit badass, and boy, we got him over it. And there's some good years yet to come. I actually got a chance to hold the WBA belt before Joshua had it, and let me tell you, that belt, I've never felt a belt before. I've carried the WBO belt for a midweight belt. When I took my hands on that belt, let me tell you, girl, Michael, Bo, Daniel, that belt when I grabbed it, I thought I was gonna fall to the ground. That belt is a heavyweights belt. I've never had. I swear, that belt, it was so heavy. I looked at everyone because the belt hold, he brought it in, and I was looking at him. Let me take a picture. But I grabbed it. What the heck is that? That belt is only wielded for someone with big, massive hands. That, I'll tell you, that's why they're the heavyweight division. Listen, long live the heavyweight division, long live boxing. And you're right, Michael. MMA ain't got nothing on that because their rounds, 5-minute rounds of how many rounds they're doing, is not the same of boxing. What you just saw there. That's why our sport is the best in the world. And I tell you what, everyone, all the other divisions, yeah, they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna beat that benchmark of Joshua. That is great. This is great. It's just tremendous.
Two main questions before we move on. Look, Joshua has moved to from stardom to possibly superstardom already. You mentioned the endorsements, the Under Armour endorsements. He's got to deal with Beats by Dre, his own signature headphones. Uh, at some level, well, he has the potential to be the biggest star since Floyd, and in some aspects, he's already greater than Floyd because of the crowd that he drew Saturday. Um, Pacquiao was huge in terms of numbers and pay-per-view numbers and the money that it drew in, biggest bout ever. But at the same time, I don't think if I don't I don't I don't see a scenario where Mayweather and Pacquiao could have drew 90,000 fans outdoors, you know. So in a certain aspect, Joshua has already exceeded Floyd in that small level. Joshua is a superstar now. He's a superstar. The question is, and this is for anybody who wants to respond, is he the best heavyweight in the world right now coming off of that performance?
Right now, yes. Is he where he ranks all time? It has yet to be seen. But right now, who could beat him? You know, until somebody else proves their worthiness, by default, Joshua's at the top of the mountain right now.
Anyone else?
Yeah. All roads go. Like what Joshua did is he's proven that what he sent the message to a lot of the UK fighters who feel that they have to come to America to make a lot of money. He's proved that no, you don't, because all roads for money goes through Joshua now. If you want to make $6-7 million, you got to fight him, and you may have to go to the UK. So, yeah, he's the best heavyweight right now that there is. And like Gail said, you know, the question is always going to be, well, who can beat him? Who can beat him? Who can beat him? And the reason why that question is there is because all these challenges out there, none of them have the ring IQ, have the experience, have the cachet as Vitaly Klitschko. None of them have that. The only one that does is maybe Tyson Fury. But outside of that, none of them have it. And because we saw him do, like what you said, a movie type win, and keep in mind too, these were two good guys. Nobody had to be evil. Nobody had to go on Twitter rants. These were two respectable guys that did it. So, you know, all like you said, all roads go through Joshua right now, and he is the man. So if you want to like stake your claim as being the best in the division, this is the guy you got to beat now.
Daniel, EJ?
Yeah, it's by default. Like I disagree. Well, like I said, my mindset is still like, even though Bo made a good argument on Saturday that we're in a state of the heavyweight division where all three champions are technically still learning on the job somewhat. But because he has two belts and because he beat who he beat, yeah, the guy's Joshua. Like I say, he leapfrogged Wilder. So now it's Joshua, Wilder, and third is Parker. So any roads like to the big money has to go through Joshua, although the only consequence maybe is if Eddie Hearn wants him to do this world tour that he's talking about. Like apparently he was thinking about doing a fight with Joshua in China. That might be an interesting angle, but I don't think China's reached a point as a boxing audience where they'll reach out to somebody that's not Chinese. So but every road has to go through Joshua when it comes to the significance of heavyweight division. It just does.
EJ?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go.
No.
Yeah, no. I as we were discussing post fight, when you look at who's teed up to get a shot at him, Parker can't do it. I mean, depending on what he looks like this weekend, I haven't been impressed lately. Wilder's certainly intriguing. We all want to see him against Fury, depending on what happens with Tyson, and he's got a bit of a road back. It's going to be a while for him. Luis Ortiz is really an intriguing, dangerous opponent, and I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing Dillian White again. I think both of them learned a lot from the first time they faced each other, and I think we get a cracking fun fight between those two. I say bring that on. But I do agree, I think Klitschko needs to be done, needs to avoid exercising the rematch clause. Let him have a farewell fight in the Ukraine or in Germany for his fans who have been very devoted to him. That, you know, he deserves it. I would have no problem with that at all. And let him call it a day.
EJ.
Yeah, all roads lead to Anthony Joshua, and let's talk about the tour of thing. You see, Muhammad Ali, this is the thing. When you're the world heavyweight champion, that means you go anywhere. Jack Johnson, Muhammad Ali, wherever it is. I know that obviously America is the place, and you all need to come to America. But let me say this is why it's called the world heavyweight belt. You can go fight China's best heavyweight champion. You don't have to be that good. You know, people, you go around the world and you defend the belt around the world. You give everyone a chance to see you. Mike Tyson took it to Japan. It was a great thing when the first time he went to Japan and beat Tony T and Tubbs over there. Obviously, he lost to Buster Douglas. But when to see Mike Tyson go to other countries and see the fanfare of him in other countries was great. Joshua has the same appeal. Joshua go to India, go to Asia, go to all them countries, Africa. They're talking about bringing Nigeria. The last time a heavyweight champion went to Africa was Lennox Lewis in South Africa. Yeah, and you can help build up other people's economy because obviously you're bringing over different media. Other people you're giving people jobs. If Donald Trump talk about jobs, listen, Anthony Joshua go to your country. He's gonna make sure that we see the president. Everyone's gonna be working T-shirts, everything, advertising. Brings the whole thing. This is what it's about, man. And also as well, you get them markets. So when you go to another country, the young kid sees Anthony Joshua come in there, says hello to one of the kids, and then the young kids say, I want to be like him. Muhammad Ali went to the Philippines in the Thrilla Manila, right? Well, I'm sure a young Manny Pacquiao, I'm not sure he was older, even probably born them times there, but a lot of Filipino boxing at the time started to raise up because Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier had their boxing there. So you go to all these countries, you go around the world. It's called the Heavyweight Championship of the World, and it doesn't, regardless of opponent, you can bring any opponent over. You know, George Foreman fought Joe Frazier in Jamaica. You see what I'm gonna say? So that's why it's the Heavyweight Champions World, and all roads do lead to Joshua in terms of trying to make money. And right now, in terms of Mayweather was great, yeah. And for the lower weights like Roberto Duran, Hearns, Leonard, when heavyweight division wasn't good. And like Mayweather did in his era, yeah, where he holded it down when boxing wasn't good, he done a great time of bringing the interest, yeah. And also, you know, in terms of conducting himself, maybe some people didn't like it, but he brought the interest. Now, like Girl said, you don't have to be that type of person. I mean, the other opponents maybe, but you don't have to be disrespectful, and there's enough money to go around. All roads lead to Joshua, the number one pay guy. Unless who's the most exciting fight? Unless Golovkin and them guys are bringing HBO, Showtime to the table, RTL, Sky TV, all at one, and then put him against. I don't know who he can get to generate that much money in any fight, and all the rest of them. Manny Pacquiao. I don't know. Obviously, maybe a rematch with Floyd. Actually, probably I could do it. Yeah, but who else can generate that much money in the heavyweight division? No, I don't think no other division can do that. And there's years to come of Anthony Joshua. All roads lead to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua reminds me, yeah, a lot of people think I'm crazy. He reminds me of Joe Louis in terms of how Joe Louis was perceived in America. Everyone, even when he lost to Max Schmeling, came back. Everyone in America never had a bad word to say about Joe Louis at the time. And obviously they hated Max Schmeling because of the Nazi influence at the time. Obviously you realize that Max Schmeling wasn't with that, yeah. It wasn't really, you know, on the Hitler side. But at the time, yeah, Joe Louis, the most popular athlete in the world. In the world he was. Joshua can be that. He can be that. And also in the similarities, when he fought James J. Braddock, he got knocked down and came back to beat him. Joshua got knocked down against Thing. And it's good for it's good that because Vladimir, like Girl said, he can leave at this point. Junction. No, he don't even need another fight. he can leave at this juncture and say, you know what? If Joshua goes on to do great things, say, well, and also if Joshua goes on not to get knocked down by any other fighter, it shows how great Vladimir is. So all roads lead to Anthony Joshua. And I tell you what, the cash cow, #1, whatever. And you know what, Joshua, the way Joshua is so humble, he said, you know what, I don't mind giving this guy 10 million, 50 million, because I'm making like 50, 60 myself. That's how Joshua's going. So everyone's going to be eating. We're eating on YouTube right now. When you put Anthony Joshua in the title, do you know his name is trending #1? He was the #1 trending name in Twitter. So anyone put Anthony Joshua's name in any of your videos, you watch the views just skyrocket. All the work we've been putting on YouTube, boy, it's long worth it, man. So he's the #1 paid guy and athlete. All roads lead to Anthony Joshua. To answer your question,
Dynamics have changed in the age of social media, in the age of 24-hour media. Vis-a-vis boxing, Joshua doesn't necessarily need the great appeal from here in the States to become a super popular figure. In short, if Joshua really wanted to, he could stay defending the title in Europe. He could make an appearance in, say, a Tokyo. He could make an appearance in Africa, in a South Africa, his home country of Nigeria. He is a specific case where he doesn't necessarily need the great American mainstream market to become a superstar and gross more money than anybody. And unlike Floyd, Joshua could become a more transcendent figure globally than Floyd was, even late in Floyd's career when he made all the money. Is Joshua the best? I lean towards that. Still to be determined, of course, because you have to fight all these guys. But the one thing I can say for sure, I think he's the best. But one thing I know for sure, he's the star. He's the star in all of boxing. No doubt about it. I was listening to another show where it possibly threw up Triple G's name. I'm like, no. It's not even close. It's laughable to even throw Triple G into the equation. So, yeah, he is, in short, that dude. He has boxing folks buzzing. ESPN finally did some coverage, Gail, about this dude. So, yeah, he is the guy. There's no doubt about it. And thank goodness he said on the HBO broadcast, he's planning to do this for another 10 years. So we'll get to see him for a long time. Now, in terms of this rematch, I hear all of your points about not wanting to see a rematch. And I agree with it. The problem is HBO wants that rematch because of the money that can be made from the bout and the money that HBO can make from the bout. Keep in mind, in a rematch, HBO has first dibs in terms of television rights. Klitschko kind of intimated, particularly in the HBO interview with Max Kellerman, and in the press conference, post-fight press conference, there was like bitter taste in his mouth because he believed he had him and he let the opportunity slip by. But to EJ's point, I don't know if he can fight any better. I just don't.
I don't think so. I think that he rallied for that last great effort and gave everything he had. And that's what made the fight so superb. You know, you don't have a good fight without two truly great opponents. You know, a fight with just one guy who's great isn't a great fight. It's a blowout. This was a test, and Joshua passed it. But Klitschko was the teacher administering the test, and we have to honor that and remember what a great career he's had. You know, this truly, I think, was his best fight. What a way to go out, win or lose. You know, in 10 years, no one's going to care. Everyone's going to talk about what a great fight this was. And it's only going to get bigger, you know, as it gets farther in the rearview mirror. It's going to take on epic proportions, especially if we're all going to be able to say 10 years from now, I saw that fight on April 29th, 2017. And boy, I remember every minute of it.
in a strange twist, Bo, given the potential of Joshua and how he can only improve from this bout, does this kind of a loss put Klitschko at a higher pedestal in a heavyweight division, kind of in a historical sense?
Unfortunately, in boxing, yes. And that's the thing about boxing is I've read some, and I talked about it, where I was seeing an article where they were saying Vladimir Klitschko fortified his legacy. And it's kind of one of those bittersweet statements, because it's like, should we just forget about, because legacy is your entire body of work. So should we just forget about the 10 years he ruled and dominated? But the thing about boxing is it's one of those sports where when you do go out on your shield and you go out hard and you go out in a fashion that fans will appreciate, yeah, it does. It definitely does concrete and cement it. And to your point about the rematch, here's the thing too that people got to remember: it's not just so much what Klitschko can do better, but here's something that we definitely know. We know that Joshua will be better in the rematch.
Yeah. I was meaning to say that if I said Klitschko, I was meaning to say that Joshua's only going to get better from this.
Yeah, so Joshua is right. Yeah, Joshua. I mean, even if Klitschko, like people say, well, the best he came in at, well, what can he do better? But you got to remember one thing though. There's a guy on the other side that's going to come in even better also. So, I'm with you guys. I would like to see him retire, but it's too much at stake for HBO, because now we're raving about the victory, but HBO took a big hit because they kind of was trying to go all in here on this fight. They took a big hit, because now it's like, where do they go? Because the bass appeal for the heavyweight division is now in control of Showtime. And Showtime have all the guys they can put on. They can put on Joseph Parker. They can put on Anthony Joshua. They can put on Luis Ortiz. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Go ahead, Daniel.
I was about to say, like, Parker may be a bit of a wild card, considering that Bob Arum may have designs on co-promoting him. And that may actually put him in the HBO corner. So that may shape up to be a very interesting dynamic of it. But it's true, most of the roads have to go through Showtime in order to get great heavyweight fights. The issue is going to be, though, is how they're going to go through with this rematch, because it's almost certain that it's going to happen because there's too much money piling up.
Yeah, so, indeed. Go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, because talking about the future, IBF has pulled a similar situation that they did to Tyson Fury and Joshua just now, saying you have to defend against Kurtapulav or you lose the belt. And I know people can say, yes, Joshua's a superstar, he doesn't need the belts, but in reality, and in the fact that we mentioned that ESPN just started covering Joshua lately, Americans pay attention when there's a heavyweight champion, when there's a really, really good heavyweight champion. As much as Joshua's coming white fight, he's going to need those belts, because he lets Pulev come in through the strip, and Pulev's not going to fight anybody. And then there's going to be a situation where we have now, where the division is completely divided. We're getting close now to it can be unified. And Joshua, Joshua should, all intents and purposes, to be the man, he probably has to clean out the division. So he has to face a Parker. He has to face a Wilder later on. He has to face an Ortiz later on. So there's a lot of things that will be able to happen.
All that is true to a certain extent. But if Joshua continues on this roll, the belts are not going to matter. If he continues on this roll and continue to beat them, it's not going to matter. But I'm going to give it to you, EJ.
Yeah.
Since you're a black Brit, I want you to sum this up, Joshua's win and what it means for boxing, and specifically what it means in the UK. Sum it up for us, brother.
Talking about the exposure. So you guys saying ESPN covered it. So over here we have newspapers. We have the Sun, the Daily Mirror, and maybe not Daily Mirror because it's not around. I think actually News of the World is not around. And we have Independent, right? let me tell you, on all the major newspapers, Joshua boxing usually gets at the back or something, or a little midway. He was at the front of every red top newspaper in our country. Every newspaper. Boxing is back and backward, and they're back with AJ. AJ is bankable. You can put your money on AJ, and you know you're going to get guaranteed money back. And they're talking about the belts, and I understand where Daniel's coming from. That stuff doesn't matter no more, right? Because it's the AJ show, and all the casual fans care about is AJ goes in there and knocks out someone. Us lot of the hardcore guys, maybe want to see him against Pulev, this and that. No. He can fight anyone, right? He could put anyone across the ring who's durable in there, and the fans will eat it up because they had such a great time. You come up with the music, the concerts, pyros and stuff like that. Or you could put him against anyone and not even that good. Or like Gail said, Dillian White, who talk a lot, build up the fight, and it'll be a great fight. You could put him with anyone. It don't have to be these guys. And nothing as well. You think Showtime, HBO, RTL, and Sky, whoever it is, won't want a piece of him. He can draw whatever he wants. At this point, they can do whatever he wants. And you're lucky you can get some breadcrumbs on it. So it's not like the belts can control him. No. If the belts are stupid, they need to behave themselves and make sure Joshua says, you know what, I can defend them up. Eddie has already said he's going to defend the belt 2 times. The IBF are ruling they want Pulev in next. When Eddie Hearn hits up the IBF, I talked, Daryl Peoples was in the hotel, by the way, right? Head of the IBF, yeah? He looked like he was having a ball of a time. Eddie Hearn writes him a letter. How you doing, Daryl? I know you've got an extension time. Could we extend it? Joshua needs a break, blah. Oh, no problem, man. Yeah, AJ can take as long as he's like. You think they're not gonna say that? Because they're gonna make the biggest payday on their belt. I understand they have rules, but rules are made to be broken when it comes to AJ. So the belts, if the belts are smart, they could vacate him. They're not gonna make as much money as they were. And who you think anyone cares if Pulis has the IBF belt? Oh, Joshua Duck, you can say no one will care, man. And also with Ortiz WBA belt, or Joshua can give them up. Joshua could just keep the Ring Magazine belt. Everyone unanimously will have Joshua, the #1 guy. They could say he's ducking him on that, but everyone knows we want the Fury fight. We want the Wilder fight. And for them fights to happen, we can't have the belts regulating, telling Joshua what he needs to do, right? So let's get it twisted. Joshua right now is all the Anthony Joshua show. Anthony Joshua can decide what he wants to do. HBO will jump to Anthony Joshua's beat. That's what it is. Because Showtime already is. They'll be happy to just be a part of it. So whoever's on HBO, they'll just want their collaboration because then they're not going to make as much money. Pete Nelson, they're already talking to Eddie Hearn already about what they can do. Showtime, Espinosa, they sitting down all around the table saying, how can we capitalize on this? And we're going to make money with this. And Eddie Hearn will bring them all together because Eddie Hearn is not a divisive person, doesn't want to separate, he's not really upsetting no one. Everyone's cool with Eddie Hearn, so is the IBF. So what Klitschko used to do, that's why Klitschko used to keep the belts. Klitschko used to write to the IBF or whoever and say, I'm ill, or I remember he was injured, and they used to extend his time. And that's what will happen with Joshua. If the belts are smart, they will not leave. And if they do leave Joshua, who cares? It's not about the belts right now. It's about fights. It's about exciting fights for the fans and casual fans, hardcore fans, whoever you like. Yeah, you put anyone across the ring, as long as they can put up a competitive fight, they'll make money, and it will change their lives as well, by the way. It will change their lives forever. It'll be the biggest payday of their whole career. So all we have to do is sit tight, wait what happens, and I'm sure Eddie Hearn will make the right decision towards Joshua, and so will all the TV networks. HBO has they don't control Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua controls them, and that's how boxing needs to be and should be, in the best interest for the fans and for the fighters. Yeah, long live the heavyweight division and long live boxing. That's it.
In short, when you are that good and you have that kind of money, market potential and mass appeal, they come to you, and the sanctioning bodies will capitulate. So, what I mean is, if the IBF try to mandate, that's fine, because you got the Fury bout in the back pocket. You got Wilder in the back pocket, and Wilder say he's willing to go there. Well, hell, fight could happen in the States. The fighters come to you. The sanctioning bodies, they come to you when you have that market potential. You can have when they have the potential to earn that kind of bank, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. They can do with Pulev all they want. It's not going to matter at the end of the day. So that's what it's about. So the IBF can play their games and Pulev and all this and that. So what if you got Fury in the back pocket? So what if you got Wilder in the back pocket? So what if you got Joseph Parker in the back pocket? You fight them.
Oh no, I understand it from a business standpoint. I'm just of the school where if you're the man, you got to clean out your division.
But he can clean out the division. He can still clean out the division. He doesn't need Pulev.
Oh no, he doesn't need it. But it feels bad in the way.
He's the division though.
Yeah, but
he's the division though. He is the division. You see what I'm saying? It's not like that. He is the division, and all roads lead to him. So
Right.
he don't have to. In terms of cleaning out, he just knocked off the unified number one, right? And listen, Fury is the guy who beat him. So it's the man who beat the man, right? So if he takes him, he is the division. So they have to see him. It's not the other way around. Like in terms of cleaning up the division, where you knock off the number one, you are the division. There's other guys out there who haven't done nothing. They have to see him. So that's what I'm saying. Like he don't have to do that. Like it's already done. I mean. It's a done deal. When he beats Tyson Fury, it's a done deal. That's it.
Yeah, all you have to do is essentially wait till Fury get his head right, his act together, fight him, let Wilder fight Joshua. The winner of those two fight each other. Boom. That's it.
But there's a big but. There is no guarantee Tyson Fury is going to get his shit together. He is.
He's doing it. He's working on it.
Well, he's working on it, but working on it, getting there are two different things.
Well, he's in my bay right now. He's in my bay right now with Billy Joe Saunders, and he's trying. What he's doing, they're doing. Over there. Billy Joe Saunders is what.
I wish him well. I mean, I hope he can do it for the sake of the division. It would be a great drama, but I don't think it's a given.
Nah, I agree with you. You know what? I agree with you because there's anything could happen. But when he saw he can make the big, because remember, like it's the money. Because remember, he wrote his article to Rolling Stone magazine or whatever. He's that Joshua has already Joshua called him out in front of England and the world. Fury, where you at? Now Fury out of his bed, whatever he's doing, looked at what they said to Fury, you could make, I think, near 10 million. His biggest ever payday. Girl, I don't know what anyone would do if they told me, EJ, yeah, someone's called your name out, you could make 10 mil. Listen, the dude is out of his sleep. If you go on social media, you'll see him and Billy Joe Saunders in Marbella in Spain, and they are shedding the weight. Billy's his best mate. Billy is right because Billy's trying to shed his weight because he's got a fight coming up, and he's motivating Tyson to lose the weight. And I agree with you, girl. It's not a given, but Eddie Hearn said we're gonna give Fury about a year. Give him a fight in between, right? And then we're gonna try and get him later on, probably next year, 2018. So there's a game plan out there for Fury. Also, he has to try and get his license because he's got the drug charge pending. I feel Eddie Hearn will go over there and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, yes, Frank Warren, they will all sit down and with the British board and they will make him get his license. There is so much money on the table in UK for this fight not to happen. No one wants to hear Tyson Fury for whatever drug charges he's done, whatever bullshit they're gonna put him with, was to be out 2 years. No fripping way. No.
But he does have to walk the straight and narrow, and he can't screw around. He can't be seen in places where guys get in trouble, even if he's clean. Somebody needs to be watching him 24 hours a day, absolutely. 7 days a week to protect him from himself. Yeah. And, you know, the payday is so big and the stage is so unimaginably big. He's got to put every safeguard in place, you know, that it takes. Whether, you know, guys are around him 24/7, and if that's what it takes, he's got to do it. He's just got to do it.
Yeah, you know what? Even all that, girl, and the rest of the panel, we can win. If that happens, we can make our break. I don't think he'll win anyway, right? Because cocaine is a hell of a drug. I don't think he'll win anyway, even though he gets himself into everything and all that, and it'd be great for him, but he's going to get knocked out just like everyone else, and then Joshua going to unify. But people want to see it because he did beat Vladimir first, and we want to see it. But he is attempting to. It's not like, girl, he heard it. And since then, this is 2 days in now, he's been on on Periscope. If you guys ain't got Periscope, on his Billy Joe Saunders Periscope, they've been making videos, talking to the people, and he's been jogging. I saw him jogging earlier on today. I mean, in Spain, he put a video, and he's motivated. He's trying to shed the pounds. Then he has to do some weights to get the strength back up, you know, and then they have to start the training camp. And then obviously they get an opponent in there, hopefully gets his license, and they're on the road to recovery. He has to get all them drugs out of his system, and he's on recovery. But like you said, Joe, you're right, it's not a given. It's not a given, but we hope and we pray that that happens.
Yeah, we all got to think positive on his behalf. And, you know, just as a human being, you want the man to get his head right and get his life right. Regardless of what happens in the boxing ring, it would be nice to see him, you know, back on the road to living a decent life.
Let's move on and talk about a couple of bouts on the undercard. I'm gonna combine two bouts into one, and if anybody wants to comment, please do. Scott Quigg back on the comeback trail at featherweight, fought Virio Simeon, won by 12-round decision. Quigg is now being trained by Freddie Roach. Luke Campbell also fought on that Fury Klitschko card, defeating Darlise Perez by 9th-round stoppage. Perez essentially quit in the 9th round. The questions are for Quigg. Yeah, he showed some good things in terms of head movement and whatnot, but I'm still wondering, how will he compete with the best at featherweight? I'm not liking the fact that I don't see power from Quigg at 126. And for Campbell, yeah, he's got the win, but to me, he looked a little bit shaky early on. Perez looked like he didn't really come to fight. He came in overweight. So the question is, how ready is Luke Campbell for the top dogs at 135? What level is he below that group with Linares and Mikey Garcia and the lot? So any response to those questions about Quigg, about how he really can compete at 126, and about Campbell at 135? And anybody can chime in.
I'll go.
Anyone?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'll go. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'll talk about Quigg first. Quigg, you know, I met him in the lobby of the hotel. You know, he's excited, rejuvenated, you know, to be with Freddie Roach. Freddie said, you know what, Quigg's been coming to he's been coming to over to the wild card for a while. Joe Gallagher always brings them over there every summer, so they know each other from back then. And I was talking to Freddie about it, and Freddie was telling me that he needs to sit down with the head of HBO, Peter Nelson, and then discuss what plans they had for Quigg. So they're looking at Abner Mares' fight. I'm going to talk about the fight in a second. They've got Abner Mares' fight and a Santa Cruz fight, and these sort of fights for him next. So they're throwing him straight to the fire. Freddie is not joking around with any fight he gets. He's like, Freddie goes, I want to see how good he is. You know, I think he's a good fighter, and we want to see him in exciting fights. And Quigg against the guy, yeah, if you think about it in terms of, you know, he should outclass the guy, whatever. But I don't think he was trying to do that. I think what he was trying to do is to show Freddie and HBO market that he's an exciting fighter, that he comes to fight and he'll bring on fight, and that's what he was trying to do. And I don't think he was trying to clinically outbox the guy and make it look thing. He was trying to get the guy out of there. He was trying his best, and it ended up, everyone talks about, other than Joshua and Klitschko, that was the second best fight on the card. And Scott Quigg is going to go on to fight the big names in America. And Freddie said, yeah, man, he's excited to have him in the camp. Moving on to Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell at one time was the biggest draw name on the Matchroom stable. He was actually supposed to be the golden boy, and obviously Anthony Joshua is the golden boy, or sorry, cash cow. Luke Campbell was supposed to be that dude, and obviously he lost to Mendy, you know, not that the Mendy, and he came back in the fight against Darlene Perez. I took a picture with Darlene Perez. He came over with his trainer. He didn't have no entourage, and I was like, this guy's a former world champion. And I was like, how seriously, really, you know? And you know, he actually made Luke Campbell look novicely, man. Made Luke Campbell. I don't think Luke Campbell's ready. You know, and I think that the trainer and the man, they said, we're going to take this money, and I think we're going to pull out a certain round. That's what I believe. I believe that because when I was with him, I goes, yeah, you going to win the fight? He looked at me this look. Oh, man, I'm just coming over for the payday. I don't care. I need to get the money. I got bills to pay, man. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they told him to lose, but something, I don't think he trained for the fight. But in the fight, he realized, oh, man, this Luke Campbell ain't shit, man. It was putting it on him. And for certain round, but for some reason, he done something to his arm and he pulled that. Luke Campbell's lucky, in my opinion. I don't think Luke Campbell's ready to step up. But Eddie Hearn has said he's decreed, like, you know, like a royal decree over here. That's what we're doing it. he's decreed that every fighter on the matchroom fight, regardless of where they are now, I am putting their feet to the fire. They have to be in exciting fights like Joshua. We're not worried about the belts and this, that. All we care about is you putting on great performances. So now all them guys on there who are just going to be, treated lightly, they're all going to be thrown to the fire. So if Luke Campbell continues on his trajectory, he's going to get beat. And in my opinion, he should go for a lower belts for me. But they're not. Eddie Hearn's not going to do that. If you're on their stable, they're going to throw you to the fire. And it's good for boxing because we want to see if you're the real deal. We ain't got time for you. We behind you and you build you up and we know you're not that good. Throw their feet to the fire. And also with Scott Quigg, he's going to be thrown to the fire as well. But the undercard was okay. It was an okay undercard, but obviously the main event lived up to it. So I'm hopeful for both of them, but it's a case of where do they go next? Is Quigg gonna beat Santa Cruz? Is he gonna beat Abner Mares? Nah, I don't think so. But it'll be an exciting fight, so it'll be good for him anyway.
Daniel, Gail, Bo, your impressions of Scott Quigg and Luke Campbell, their performances.
Unless Quigg proves otherwise, he's a full step below the top tier, in my opinion. Not that he doesn't deserve a shot at the top tier, but he's not a Linares and he's not a Garcia.
Yeah, when it comes to Luke Campbell, the issue with Luke Campbell is when you look at the top tier guys of that division, he's nowhere near them skill set wise, even ring IQ wise. You're talking Mikey Garcia, you're talking Linares, even Robert Easton Jr. The only one that you can maybe make a case for is Flanagan, and I even doubt that. I mean, you still got to remember Luke got beat by a second tier fighter. In my opinion, the guy that beat him, you get anywhere from a C to a D level fighter. So, I don't think he's ready for that upper level top tier. And then when it comes to Scott Quigg, then with Freddie Roach, the thing about Freddie Roach is he teaches nothing but offense. Scott Quigg needs someone to help him work on his defense. That's what he needs to work on, that defense.
The transition, particularly from offense to defense. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only issue I have with him being with Freddie Roach is Roach don't teach you defense. He teaches you he takes what you're good at and increases that. Scott Quigg needs to learn a little defense.
Your thoughts, Daniel?
I had the same feeling when I watched the fight because I watched the fight later on because I was just focused on Joshua Klitschko, but it's true. Like when it comes to power, Quigg seems like 122 is his plateau as far as hitting with power. And when you have a guy like Frampton who has brought up his strength with the weight, Santa Cruz is going to beat you by accumulation. Mares, who's starting now to develop both the offense and the defense necessary to win, and hell, even some low guys like Cuellar. Cuellar is just brute strength. Gary Russell Jr.'s hand speed. I agree with you. He's probably a notch below, a full step below the top tier guys, but he'll make a decent fight.
Excuse me, but how would you compare him to Valdez? What we saw last week from Valdez and Mariaga.
Valdez will pick it up quickly. Like he'll give on the boxing wise, Valdez a little bit of a problem. Like he would give Jojo Diaz a little bit of a problem. But at the end of the day, Valdez probably has the power to handle featherweights. Diaz will have a body accumulation that'll probably wear him out in the way. So, like I say, I think he is. I agree with Gary. It's like a step below the top tier, and it's a division where you need to have your defense up. And it's true, Freddie Roach doesn't focus much on defense. You go to Freddie Roach to pick up your offensive game. When it comes to Luke Campbell, he has lined up with this fight. He has lined up a future shot at Linares, and I think Linares will be more than happy to go to the UK, beat up another one of their countrymen, and get money. He might do it twice. He might go after Flanagan after that.
Yeah.
But But of course, then there's the question of if he gets to Mikey. Luke Campbell, like if you put me up against Linares or Mikey, to me, Luke Campbell's either A, going to be embarrassed boxing wise, or B, possibly get knocked out. Each guy presents a different problem for Campbell. And it's tough for him to, I see it, it's tough for him to really put it all together against a good level of competition. Like he does really well in lower tier competition, but if you show a good amount of resistance, he can't put it all together at once. And that's a division where you have to do it.
Okay, I'm sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, even with Flanagan, like as much crap as I've given him, he has talent. He can't put it together if you force him to. I don't think Campbell has that.
Going right back to you, EJ, before we move on, you mentioned that you talked to Roach, and they're talking about Quigg going straight after the Mares and Santa Cruz. What happened to the proposed bout with Lee Selby? Did they just not interested in that?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. That was the first one. That was the first major order to go after Lee Selby. But these are they said the Lee Selby bout or the Mares and the Santa Cruz bout. So these are the options for thing. And let's talk about his defense. He ain't trying to do defense right now. He's trying to go in there and get paid. Is quick, and he ain't worrying about no defense. He all he thinks his offense is gonna get him in. Him and Freddie are alignment that my offense is my defense. I'm gonna whoop your ass, and you're gonna be on defense. And he ain't worrying about. I understand what you guys are trying to say. That will be better for him, but nah, he don't care about that. He just coming on, and Freddie was telling me also in his training regime, which is what Freddie allowed to tell me, is that when Freddie's actually wearing the body belt, he doesn't wear it no more. That he pissed blood for like 3 or 4 days with Manny on the body belt and with Miguel Cotto. And I goes, Freddie, why would you do that? Because no, Freddie puts himself through the paces like the fighters. And I looked at him and goes, why would you do that? Because sometimes that's how I gotta be. That's that's what a trainer did. Trainer, he puts himself through it, man. That's why when you see him, his body look bashed up, and sometimes he's glitching, he's shivering and stuff like that because he's putting himself through the fighters, man. And I was like, man, and then with Quigg is like him. He sees Quigg like a little version of Freddie. He's a go-getter. He wants to send him in there, and he's just gonna throw all lever. So he's basically making Quigg an exciting come forward Showtime fighter. That's what he's about. Come in, all hands blazing, like Manny. You know what I'm trying to say? Manny's got good defense, but they're more interested in the offense and just to make him make that money because defense does pay in the bills, but it's offense and never excitement fight. So that's what they're gonna try and do for him. So to your point, and also we missed about is Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor's on the card. Eddie Hearn, obviously she's her next fight is going to be for a world title. They're going to bring her back to Belfast. I actually talked to the opponent that Katie Taylor was going to be facing for women's boxing, and Ahsoka goes, "Are you going? Do you think you're going to beat Katie Taylor?" And she looked at me. I just found out about the fight. Spinotka actually. I actually talked to Spinotka, the Phantom, the guy who's undefeated in Germany. You know about Spinotka,
the
guy that joked. He's her manager or whatever. I caught up that Spinotka. Anyway, that's another discussion. But anyway, he's a manager or whatever. And she goes, only found out the fight a week ago. I thought it was going to be a 4-rounder, but I just found out it's a 10-rounder. So she wasn't really prepared for it. And then goes, oh, you think, well, we're going to box, try and move a bit. And when I heard that, I go, you're going to get beat up. Katie hits way too hard. And that's what happened. Katie beat her up and the fight was stopped accordingly. So with Katie Taylor on the card as well, they're going to take her and make her own main event in Ireland. They're going to try and bring her like Conor McGregor, like Quigg, not Quigg, Frampton. They're going to build her like that. So she's going to fight for a world title in her next fight because that fight was eliminated for a world title in Ireland. So good news for her as well. So it's just good news. Yeah, I mean, with the guy who came over when I was talking to Freddie, I think he works with Peter Nelson because I think when I was in the lobby, Peter Nelson wanted to meet with Freddie and they would discuss what was next for Quigg. And obviously we took up his time in it. But so in the mean, when he came up to me, he goes, these are the options. Obviously, we've got the Selby fight on the table. I have the Morris fight that's there. We have Santa Cruz is with thingy, but they don't mind trying to get a Santa Cruz over. Them sort of fights we're looking for quick. So any of them options would be good. The Lee Selby fight will be big for us over here. They'll try and make it a big fight. And it probably will be. It'll make some decent money. But I think the next thing is to bring him into America and try and have him in America and try and launch him over there as a come forward, all aggressive UK fighter. So I think that's what they're gonna try and do.
But Gail and Bo, any risk of Katie Taylor too much too soon in terms of the title fight coming up next?
Oh, I don't think so. You know, while I would certainly not compare her to Lomachenko, she's got a deep amateur background, and you know, I like the fact that she is busy, that she keeps getting in the ring, and you know, when the women are only fighting 2-minute rounds, which we've discussed many times that the women need to be fighting the same 3-minute rounds as the men, but until they do, they're not getting quite the same mileage. So why not? You know, until proven otherwise, keep her busy, keep her in front of people, get her name out there. I like that. I like that approach, and all for it.
Your thoughts, Bo?
Yeah, I like that approach. I think Nicola Adams tweeted that her next fight is going to be a 3-minute.
You know,
yeah.
In New Jersey, the commission there has sanctioned 3-minute rounds for women, and I do think it won't be too much longer before that's the standard, or at least the option. And the top tier fights will all go to 3-minute rounds.
Right, but yeah, I'm okay with it because she has shown some improvement. She didn't look like in the very first fight. I thought she got hit a little bit too much, but in this fight she didn't. So she's shown some improvement. The division she in, and the division she in is just right for her to come and take the championship. So for Katie Taylor, no, I don't have a problem with it. I think if they want to take her in for a championship, they should. The only female fighter who I think they're trying to rush for a title, the fight that they probably should wait and let her get some fights underneath her is Clarissa Shields, because Christina Hammer is no joke at that division.
No, I agree with you there. Clarissa and middleweight Maricela Conejo faced off against each other at StubHub here during the Valdez Mariaga card, and I think you're going to see those two ladies go at it, which I very much enjoy.
And don't forget to throw my girl Raquel in there too now.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, you know, that division isn't real deep, but there's some very good talent there. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. One last fight before we start previewing what's happening this weekend. I didn't really feel any newsworthy stuff to talk about here. I'll go to you on this one, Daniel. Donnie Nietes, same day, early in the day of Joshua Klitschko over in the Philippines. He won the vacant IBF belt at flyweights. The name escapes me. The guy he beat for the title, he won by unanimous decision. He won the title, but at age 34, is it too little, too late for him at this point to move up and win these belts, given really all the big names have now moved on to 115? Your thoughts, Daniel, if you're there.
In a way, yes or no? Yes, in the sense of the fact that, you just saw both Chocolatito, you saw Estrada leave the division and took some of that star power away from it. At the same time, though, there's still Brian Viloria there. There's still McWilliams Arroyo there.
And there's the Mexican guy who won the WBC belt, but I don't know if there's much clamoring for like a unification bout though.
No, that's what makes the situation interesting, because
Hernandez is his name.
Yeah. The thing with Hernandez and Nietes is probably a logical fight to make right now, because it's a good fight to make, and there may be a chance, like I said, that if Chocolatito doesn't go through and doesn't get the good fight against Rungvisai in a rematch, his team might actually talk about going back down, saying 115 may be a little bit too much. And that opens up a lot of avenues. The thing with Nietes, though, is it's true. It's coming into the age. You won at 34, and you know you've been in some wars. But he is like I said, situated in the perfect place to do it, in like in the Philippines, and which means he has easy access to Japan. He still can make a decent money. Like Private Laureate made a conscious decision to go to Japan now for money. That's a last full run. He's still a credible opponent. Like I said, and then there's Williams Arroyo, who we know from Chocolatito to Fight is a really good worker. So it's both a yes and a no with Nietes. It is a little bit too old. At the same time, there's still some fights there that, from a financial perspective and from a competitive perspective, are still viable for him and still make him something to watch.
I'm just going to open the mic and let everybody open their mics up and talk quickly. Donnie Nietes, at this stage of his career, what future is there really for him?
I ain't got nothing to say. Oh, go ahead, girl.
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean, if his options are limited, then you take what you get. You take whatever guy is willing to step in with you. And the clock is ticking on his career. So he needs to get at it. And if the better fights for him are in Asia, which might be the case, then that's where he needs to be. That would be a shame. I think I'd like to see him more in the West Coast, and he certainly would have a fan base interested in seeing him. But I think he can make more money on the other side of the Pacific.
EJ?
Yeah, man. I think he picked up Annette Roorang's belt, man, and I miss that. I miss Annette Roorang, from Thailand, even though he's dirty and shit. But
I'm not.
I do, because you know what? He held the division with respect, and he fought everyone. He fought all comers. I know you don't, but he was active and busy. So if the Netis can defend the belt against all comers, but the thing is, are you trying to go for great fights, man? I mean, you've moved up when everyone moved out. You know what I'm saying? Are you that kind of dude where you're like, you're nitpicking, against belts? You picked one of vacant belt. Are you going for greatness? I don't know if he's that type of dude. Maybe he's just enjoying getting his paydays, winning. But maybe he does, and you look at his record when it's all said and done, you got all the title. But how many big names have you got on your resume to say that you're great? And that's what it's about, isn't it? Trying to get the great fights. Look, what's his name again? Gallo Estrada. He said, man, where's Chocolatito at? Man, I'm moving out this division. I need to go be chasing that dude. That dude, I've been chasing that dude for a while. Is he trying to do that? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, whatever he does, we're still going to watch. In fact, I didn't even know that fight was on. I'm going to try and watch it and try and find out. We're going to try and do some translation not translation. We're going to do some commentary on it, some English commentary, and if it hasn't got it on already. And yeah, man, I'm just going to continue watching. But I don't know if that guy is trying to fight the big names in the division. If he does, then cool. If he doesn't, we're still going to watch him. He's a very exciting fighter. And we just have to wait and see. But age is ticking on him. But age ain't nothing but none of these days. And boy, he's active and keep doing what he loves. Then boy, more power to him.
Any word on this, Bo? Would you like to move on?
I like to move on.
Okay. Let's, like I said, no real news this week. News that interests me, I should say. So let's move on.
Chavez Jr., man. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's move on and preview what's happening this weekend. Focus on one bout, of course. Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fighting this weekend in Vegas. Look, as I've said before, I have my issues with how this fight was being made. I still question why Chavez deserved this opportunity. I didn't like Canelo making fighters fight at his weight, then moving all the way up 10 pounds for this bout, mainly for the money. But it is what it is. A lot of hype coming in. Pre-fight promotion is sure to make a lot of money. And based on given that styles make fights, looks like it's going to be a good fight. So it is what it is. And I'll just open up for any and everybody here. Talk about the pre-fight hype. Talk about the pre-fight promotion. Do you think Chavez will make 164? And if so, how comfortable will he be? And give a preview, the breakdown of how the fight will go. And this is just for anybody who wants to chime in. Please do.
I think we should let Gail go first since she's covering two of the greatest Mexican fighters that ever lived. This is the rebirth of Barrera and Morales, and Gail is there to cover her favorite fighter, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And we're going to let Gail go first.
Viva Julio! Viva Julio!
Viva Mexico! Oh,
Viva
my
Mexico!
God. Oh, my Lord. Yes, I am in Las Vegas. This town looks like it's been toilet papered with Canelo Chavez posters. They are everywhere. And by the way, they are everywhere in Mexico. A friend of mine was in Baja last weekend who is not a boxing fan, but noticed this stuff and said to me, who's this Canela guy? I saw this shit for him. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. Because they're advertising, the bars and, places where you can go watch the fight just like crazy. So south of the border. Interesting. There's no denying Mexico and Mexican boxing fans are hyped beyond belief for this fight. And for all of us that said, what the hell? Why are we doing this? What in the world are they thinking? That's what they're thinking. There was some evil genius behind this fight. You cannot deny it. The place, the T-Mobile Arena, which is right now the biggest venue in Las Vegas, sold out, boom, in an instant. It's the first boxing sellout for that arena. And it wasn't, it just sold out a couple of nights ago. No, it sold out immediately. The MGM properties in the Vegas area are all showing it on closed circuit. They're starting to sell out. It's one of these fights where you can go see it in a movie theater in a lot of communities around the United States, and I'm sure elsewhere, for about the same price as a movie ticket, which isn't a bad way to go see the fight, especially if you go to one of these new theaters that have got the reclining seats and they sell booze and, you can go watch it there. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of numbers it does. So we just answered our own question, why this fight was put together. And tomorrow, the weigh-in, the question of the weight, it really is the $1 million question. Will Chavez Jr. make weight? It looks like he will. It looks like he'll at least get very close. The weight limit is a catch weight of 164.5 pounds. One of these bizarre Canelo weight catch weights. But he says he's on weight. Nacho Beristain says he's on weight. Memo Heredia, who's working with him, says he's on weight. He looks like he's going to be close. So we get him on the scale tomorrow and we see. But then the real question about how he's going to perform is going to come when we see how he looks on fight night. How much did he rehydrate? How much was he able to rehydrate? There is no rehydration clause. And he should, in theory, be able to put about 10% of his body weight back on, which means he'll come into the ring possibly at 180. Very possible. He'll be a light heavyweight come Saturday night. No question about it. It's going to be interesting, though, to see when he steps on the scale. And he's considerably taller and has a longer reach than Canelo. But he doesn't have the skills. He doesn't have the speed. And so he is going to have to rely on size if he wants to have any chance in this fight. He's going to need to strike early, and maybe he gasses himself out, or maybe he's successful. Who the hell knows? It's going to be very interesting to see, when he's tested, how does he feel? What did it take for him to get prepared for this fight? It's all going to be in the conditioning and the size, and we're going to get our first clue tomorrow at the weigh-in.
EJ Boxing Live, burn on his bout, brother.
Oh, bro, you know what? I was just watching knockouts, all the top knockouts of 2007, and then I came across Omar Chavez versus Canelo's brother. Listen, if that don't get them up, I don't know what will. Not only did Chavez lose to Chavez Senior lose to De La Hoya, and De La Hoya promoting Canelo, Canelo's younger brother got beat up by Omar Chavez. Trust, listen, I'm sure Daniel wants to say on it there. I'm telling you, if I saw some guy beat my brother, my brother, I'll be on it, man. I mean, that's something probably no one's really even thinking about. Listen, that alone will set the fire. This is personal, man. Chavez, I saw the face to face. Chavez go, why you don't fight Triple G? Why you didn't? And Canelo's like, whoa, you, like you're a rich kid. You've had everything given to you. They don't like each other, man. And you know what? Marco Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales. You know what? Yeah, I'd have to say that. In terms of intensity, and like Gail said, it sold out. People were sleeping on this fight. This fight right here, let me tell you something. I'm gonna go with Chavez. I'm going straight out on the bat. I'm going with Chavez, man. I'm going with Chavez. He's durable. He has a good chin. I know he got knocked out by Fonfara. I understand that, but he's been fighting at higher weights. He wasn't as good as he was at middleweight. He took loads of punches from Martinez. He can absorb a lot of punches. He has a very good body punches, and he's got some decent power. And I think Canelo. Everyone's saying Canelo. Freddie Roach said, Canelo's gonna beat him. Canelo hits like a mule. He hits so hard. I understand that, but hey, Chavez can take it and keep coming. We know. So this is gonna be the Predator and the boxer, and we're expected to see a great fight, especially the Mexico. If they stand, everyone reckons if Chavez stands toe-to-toe, Canelo will knock him out. I don't think so. I think that will fall favor into Chavez's. He wants you to stand there. He wants you to stand there and exchange. Yeah, he doesn't hit as hard, but I feel like he can take a bit more than Canelo. We ain't seen Canelo getting bombed in his face like that. We see Chavez doing it, and he'll keep walking forward. This fight is got every ingredient to be a great fight. Family feuds, trainers, managers. It's got everything in it. Bad blood. Yeah. Hey, maybe we do a second one, but let's get through the first one. Hey, boy, via Mexico. That's what I have to say, boy. I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna be doing my stream on it. It's gonna be a great fight. Should be a great fight.
Follow-up question before I move on to Bo and Daniel. I hear what you're saying, but in the back of my mind, I still can't forget that Chavez quit twice. You don't put that into account here, or you just think that the motivation will be just too high for Chavez, and he will be over the moon for this belt.
Interesting. Canelo was asked about this in a media call about a week and a half ago. Do you think you can make Canelo? Can you make Junior quit? And Canelo said, and Canelo is cool and collected to the point sometimes of being boring. Okay, but these guys don't like each other, which has been very interesting to watch Canelo bristle through all of the pre-fight media. So he's asked about this, and he says, once a quitter, always a quitter. And that's what he's riding on. And Chavez Jr. knows that's what people think of him. His legacy is on the line. Both of their legacies are on the line for whatever you think of either one of them. And forget that there's no belt at stake here at all. There's no kind of title at stake except the title, in their own hearts of being the pride of Mexico and what that represents in a fight crazy country. That whoever loses has to lose in the same way Klitschko lost to Joshua to retain any sort of pride at all. Otherwise, they are going to be disgraced, and that's what both of them fear the most.
Your thoughts, your response to my question, EJ.
Sorry, what was the question?
I hear what you were saying, but
the quitter,
I just
the quitter,
can't
the
get
quitter.
out of my mind that Chavez quit twice. Do you think there's a potential for that again, or do you think that this Chavez will be so motivated?
No, not in this one. Not in it. He could no. See what girl said there? Nah, man, not in this one. You listen. You might as well throw yourself off a bridge of a building. I'm sure Daniel will attest to that. I understand about Mexican pride and stuff like that and big cojones. No. There's no quitting in this one. He'd have to come out. They won't not forgive him. It will tarnish the name, of his dad. No. He'd have to go out on his shield, on his back, and that's it. That's the only way he's gonna go out, and that's it. And that understandably, yeah, people want weird, but he can't. He can't. If he does that, let me tell you something. If he does that, oh, he just, you know what, Michael, right? Just people have migraine. He can't. Listen. Listen. In this one fight, he will redeem his family's name. This is massive, man. Because remember, Canelo is the next heir apparent in Mexico, the big star in Mexico. But he still isn't. He still know Julio Cesar Chavez. He still know Chavez. He's going on the way to it. But this little thing here, this is what they need in your boxing thing. You need a serious rival. Not really a rival. You need a sort of fight that builds everything. I think this fight here, Chavez will show what he's all made of. And maybe in this fight, one fight here, he'll live up to his dad's expectation. And that's all he probably cares about is his dad. I don't think he'd want to disappoint his dad. Because this is the thing, Omar Chavez beat up his brother. And his brother will be telling you, man, them Canelo's, they're weak. Man, I'll beat up I'm telling you, his brother, they're not real Mexicans like we are. I'm sure they'll come in and Canelo's like, I'm going to beat the hell out of him, this sport brat. How dare he step in my division? So I really don't want to go there with the quitting. But if it was to happen, listen, I'm not going to lie. I feel very, very, because I'm picking him. I'll be very, very upset. And I'm sure Mexican, they will not forgive him. They won't forgive him. He will not live it up, man. No way. Couldn't do it.
Oh, EJ is totally right. Chavez Jr., even if he loses, as long as he goes out on his shield, it's okay. If he quits, he will live with that every day for the rest of his life. And right this minute, about 2 miles from me at the MGM, which I am not attending at this moment, there was a roundtable discussion going on, and Golden Boy brought together Chavez Sr., Marco Antonio Barrera, and Eric Morales for a roundtable. And hopefully we'll hear what kind of discussion went down. But I can only imagine. And Oscar is leading the roundtable. Very, very interesting. They are still all enormous heroes in Mexico, and even Canelo is barely scratching the surface of what these guys achieved. Junior, he will be nothing if he screws this up. And he knows it. He has finally grasped the gravity of what's happened to his career. And a lot of his problems, almost all of them, are self-imposed. So, he cannot fuck this up. Bottom line, he can't.
Mm-hmm. Bo, Daniel, your thoughts on this bout?
As far as Chavez quitting, Chavez Sr. ain't gonna let him quit. Chavez Sr. drag his ass out there in the middle of that ring and stick his chin out and say, take one on the chin and go down. I don't think Chavez Sr. is gonna let Chavez Jr. quit. But if Chavez, the thing that makes this fight intriguing, because when I first heard about it, you guys heard I said I called him a career fuck up, and I still stand by that. The thing that makes it intriguing is he actually started training, getting his body right and ready early once he heard about it. So he's giving the appearance he's taking this seriously. He's giving the appearance he knows what's on the line. I agree with Gail. If he wants to redeem himself, he has to go out like Vladimir Klitschko. If he goes out like that, gets knocked down, get up, knocks Canelo down, and he gets knocked. If he goes out like that, yes, he will have redeemed himself. And also, to a certain degree, Chavez Sr. has told Chavez Jr., I don't care who you lose to, but you cannot lose to this motherfucker. Because a lot of Mexican fan base are still upset that Canelo did all that talking about not messing around and all that, and then drop the belt. So these are two guys that, like, this is that fight that we talk about that you have in your career, where this is that crossroad. And it's a crossword for both of them, because, of course, if Canelo loses this fight, that's horrifically disaster for Oscar De La Hoya right there, if he loses this fight. And if Chavez quits, that's horrifically disaster. Now, the only reason why I think Canelo's going to win, because I do not believe if they do stand there and go toe-to-toe and go bombing on each other, advantage Canelo. And the reason why I say this is because I know what Chavez used to could take, but Chavez is coming down to 164.5 pounds. I don't know if his body can still absorb that kind of punishment coming down in weight. Your body is different. You take things differently when you're coming down in weight, you lose a lot as far as muscle and power when you come down in weight. So, and Canelo Alvarez is one hell of a body puncher. He's an underrated body puncher. So if he goes to that body and tests that body to see if that body is not affected by that weight loss, and if it is, you know, it's going to be a hard, long night. As Chavez Jr. is taller, but I've never known Chavez Jr. to have, like, use his jab to set stuff up. He normally likes to get in close up on you. So advantage Canelo again as far as the skill. Advantage Canelo again as far as the experience. So I got Canelo winning this fight, and I think he might win by knockout with a body shot. But it's still an intriguing fight because you can definitely see the determination and the intensity from Chavez and him knowing what's at stake here.
Your thoughts, Daniel.
I even called this yesterday a circus in a way, but we have to understand, that saying these two don't like each other is an understatement. And you could just tell in that face-off. I have never seen Canelo that stone-faced in that face-off. And it started actually with a question that pretty much let him know what he thought of Chavez. Like I said, that face-off on HBO. Max Kellerman asked Chavez, well, how does he think Canelo represented Mexico? He said, oh, he's a good champion. He's fought this and this. He just, to me, hasn't fought the best. When Canelo got asked that about Chavez, he essentially gave an answer that said he ain't no damn Mexican. And did it with a stone face.
Oh, is that what was said? Whoa.
Well, the proper translation said is he hasn't represented Mexico at all.
Yeah, right. I was watching that too, Daniel, and I'm like, that's not what he said. What he said was a lot worse than that.
Yeah, he pretty much said he ain't no damn Mexican. That's what he said. He ain't no damn Mexican.
Oh, really?
That's how. And remember, there's little innuendos, things back and forth. Like, I keep remembering, I forgot who Chavez's crew said that Canelo was a deadbeat dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! This is serious, man.
This is personal. Like, these two, if Max Kellerman would have left that studio and would have left those two alone for a night, you would come in the next morning and you would just be picking up flesh because those two would have beaten each other into a pool of blood.
Wow.
They do not like each other. They fucking despise each other because of the way they came. It's just the way it came up. Now, mainly it's like Canelo came in from, like, he comes from the area that a good time that El Chapo used to run in Guadalajara. Came from literally nothing.
Yeah, isn't Canelo from a family of like 9 children?
Yep, 9 kids.
Really
9 kids.
Rough upbringing. You know, he started boxing because he needed the money. You know, there's no amateur career when you start fighting in Mexico when you're 15 or 16. You're fighting for money. That's what it's about.
Not for money, like I said, like back in the days. Say again.
Yeah, you fight to eat.
You do, and that's the way he brings it up. Canelo brings in the way you look into this fight. The way I saw that face off, like I said, Canelo did adopt fully has now adopted the Mayweather formula of I'm the A side, you do what I say.
Oh yeah, no question. Well, and because Canelo is normally such a steady personality, to see any shade throw from him, I mean, you see him even raise an eyebrow. He's not an excitable guy. So that's a lot for him to show. Yeah. He does not show emotion a lot. He's a very stoic person. So this is extreme for him. Now, what also, Daniel, I'd love to know what your thoughts are about this. I was surprised Chavez Jr. chose to do that face-off in English, and he did very well. He struggled for a word here and there, but not much. And I have to say, I give him credit for that. He knew this was being seen by an American audience, and I'm sure that's why he did it. But I'd love to know your impression of that choice.
He's known English for a while, So it does not surprise me that he's gonna do the
Well,
interview
so
in
does
English.
Canelo. I mean, give me a break. He lives in San Diego. He lives 10 miles up the freeway from me.
He does,
But
but
he chooses not to speak English in
Yeah.
public.
He
And
feels embarrassed about it, Gail. He
but
talks about
he
feels
doesn't need a
embarrassed.
translator to translate the questions for him. They get asked in English, he answers. But he answers in Spanish.
yeah, that's their mainly the demeanor of it. And like I said, I keep going, like I said, to this face off because you saw it. They said the look of Canelo, somebody fully has adopted the Mayweather formula of the A side. Like, you're gonna do what I say. And then you saw in Chavez, you mentioned it, Gail. I saw the face of a man who has begun to understand or is in the process of understanding how he got into the position that he was in. Where he's the one that's being looked at as damaged goods. And I think he understands that. And he did bring up and he did poke the bear a lot of times when it came to weight. I'm surprised when he went at it with Floyd, when he mentioned Floyd, like, oh, people, I thought you only fought Floyd because he doesn't hit hard. And Canelo's like, no, he was the best pound for pound. I had to do what he said. Guess what? But you have to do what I said, because not too long ago, in fact, 5 years ago is no longer a long time ago in this day and age. Those two were only legitimately one weight class apart. And Chavez Jr. is true. Chavez Jr., if he chose to, he could have made that fight. And probably would have gotten a much better chance of beating Canelo. But he's probably hopefully Nacho's not making the same mistake that Freddie made when he had Cotto train for Canelo. Because Freddie Roach trained Cotto to fight the Canelo that lost to Floyd. He didn't count on him improving. Nacho Bernstein better not do the same thing. Because these two, just the way that shaped up, it's not going to be a boxing match. It's just going to be a fight.
Oh, yeah. And it might devolve to a real brawl.
Yeah, and
which favors Junior.
It depends really to me in a sense, because unfortunately Junior, for all his toughness, does not use his height and reach well. Like when he has to do, he when he wants to go inside, he crouches down and tries to get inside, and that is in Canelo's wheelhouse.
Yeah, he would do well to fight tall and try to just smother Canelo.
Yeah, but I don't know if he knows how to do that, though.
No, I agree.
He can't do that.
I don't know if he knows how to do that, Gail. That's the only issue with Chavez.
I agree. No, I don't think he does know how to do that.
I don't. I don't. That's the thing. He's gonna try to crouch down and go in there, and like I said, that goes into Canelo's wheelhouse. Canelo is a natural counterpuncher.
Exactly.
He wants you coming after him, and if Junior goes into that way, he'll get countered with a body shot. I've mentioned it time and time again. Every single combination that Canelo throws has somewhere a left hook to the body involved. Doesn't matter beginning, middle, or end. It has it.
Yep.
Okay.
And watching him train, doing his media workout, he was working with Eddie, and he's throwing a lot of shots to the body. And in fact, they came toward me, and I took a bit of an elbow shot from Eddie backwards. Thank God his recoil's pretty good, or I would have been pushed right off the lip of the ring. That Canelo was putting on quite the display, and he's clearly been working on speed as well. So it's going to be very interesting, and it is going to be interesting to see what the weight for Canelo. This is going to be the biggest weight he's ever fought at. How that affects his eventual performance in the ring. I mean, I don't think any of us believe Chavez Jr. has much of a chance, but everyone's got a chance.
Okay. I think Daniel's going with Canelo. I think Gail's going with Canelo. Bo's going with Canelo. EJ's going with Chavez. I'm going with Canelo, but I think Chavez is going to give him a heck of a fight. My problem is Chavez Jr. is way too hittable. And to Bo's earlier point, The weight. I think he will make the weight, but Chavez has had a career long of struggling to get down, putting on a lot of weight, struggling to get down, putting on a lot of weight. He's been doing this for years now, and that has to take a toll on you over time. Um, I think he's under 30 still, uh, but yet again, you keep doing that over and over and over, and he's coming down this much weight in this fight here. I just think it's going to play a role here. Plus, Canelo is going to go to this body, going to focus on this body. If Chavez used the jab more, I would give him more of a chance because he's a taller, longer boxer, and he's a much bigger boxer. But I just think his defense deficiencies on defense and the issue with the weight, I just think it's going to tell late. Like I said, I think he's going to give him a good scrap. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he even buzz Canelo with the shot because he's so much bigger. But I'm going with Canelo here by decision. And if anybody wants to give last words on this bout before we move on and start to close down the show, please do so.
All I have to say is quickly is that Chavez's chin is like Mayweather's chin in terms of in that division. Like he took shots from Andy Lee, and I don't think Canelo hits like Andy Lee. And I understand about coming down the weight but for his chin is durable. I think his chin will be able to get him through some shots, man. His pride, and I think Canelo will be surprised, man, how much Canelo Chavez would absorb, and will take to try and put his shots on Canelo and thing, and that alone, might wear Canelo because Canelo's been proven in the later rounds, that he gets tired. Under string pressure, Floyd was outboxing him. You've seen him in his rope. Yeah, he's improved in terms of his conditioning, but again, I just feel like Chavez is a bigger dude, and the overnight weigh he'll be big overnight, and so does Chavez, Canelo. So I feel like slightly advantage there, but I know I could be wrong, and I could be completely mismatched here, and it could be a complete mismatch. But I just like Chavez, and the family thing behind it. I believe that Chavez is gonna put performance. That's my last word on it.
Thanks for the correction, Gail, in the chat. Chavez, he's 31. But anybody else want to give final word on this bout? Please do so.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was about to say EJ might like this. There's a British movie called Rise of the Foot Soldier.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
And this fight is gonna be like the last scene of that movie. Now, the Rise of the Foot Soldier is about a soccer hooligan who wound up becoming like an enforcer in the underworld, and he got involved, I think, in one of the most, famous murders in British history. But there's this at the end of the movie, he's in his house. He's putting traps and weapons all over his house in case somebody tries to come after him. And there's a line that says, I forgot what it was. It says, if you come near me or if you come to my house, in all certain terms, I will bathe in your fucking blood. That's what's going to happen to this fight. These two are going to bathe in each other's blood.
No, this fight,
I'm laughing because it's so true.
Yeah,
there will be blood.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, this is actually one of those fights where you actually hope. Like, I would, for all the things that I've said about that spoiled brat, never appreciated shit, always handed it to him, ain't never had to earn a goddamn thing in his life, Chavez. I actually hope he goes in there and proves everybody wrong. He don't have to win. Just go in there and show us what we all thought was always there inside of you. Show us what a focused Chavez looks like. And I actually hope he does that. And to your point about Canelo being focused, this isn't about fighting anymore. These are two mad ass hateful dudes that have a circle of things around them, like you said. Oscar De La Hoya beat Chavez. The one brother beat the other brother. then the camp spreading rumors. It's so much there. It's like watching Love and Hip Hop on steroids. So it's it has everything that it needs to be. Now we just got to see. Now we got to see if it comes together and turn into a great fight like we saw last Saturday.
Gail?
It's going to be very interesting to see a almost all Mexican crowd and how they divide up. And while I think Canelo will have the majority of fans, he's not going to have all the fans by any means. Although one of the things Canelo has said about Chavez Jr. is that Chavez Jr. has no fans. All of those people are his father's fans. And that Chavez Jr. has no fans of his own. It is all for his father. That was a bit of a throwdown. We all got a big laugh about that. But they're going to be there and to see a good fight primarily. In the end, they're not going to give a shit who wins as long as it is a classic Mexican style fight. And I do think that's what we're going to get. And make no mistake, on the undercard, you have David Lemieux fighting Marco Reyes. Now, it's a layup fight for Lemieux. This is not a tough fight for him. And everyone expects to see another Curtis Stevens-style knockout because once this fight is over, the name on everybody's lips is not going to be either Canelo or Chavez. It's going to be Golovkin because we're all going to wonder what's coming down the pike. But if for some reason there's any stall in discussions, here's David Lemieux, who's just, assuming he has a great fight on Saturday, who's just had 2 great crowd-pleasing fights. And I'll tell you, a fight between Canelo and Lemieux is going to be a damned entertaining fight. A consolation prize, yeah, but, not a bad fight. So immediately upon the conclusion of whatever happened Saturday night, believe me, I assume we are going to see Abel Sanchez and Golovkin and probably Loeffler sitting there. And we're going to have another one of these call-outs and let the drama begin.
And I think we're going to start to shut down the show. On that note, go around the hangout around the panel here. Ladies first, starting with you, Gail, from Communities Digital News. For folks who want to talk to sweet science or Dancing with the Stars or environmental issues, I know you're heavy into that. Let the folks know where they can find you.
You can find me on my column, Ringside Seat, is on Communities Digital News. That's COM, C-O-M-M, Digi, D-I-G-I, News, comdiginews.com. I'm going to be all over Twitter this weekend because I am in Vegas covering the fight. We're going to be observing very closely tomorrow's weigh-in. That's very pivotal. And that Twitter account, you can either follow the Com Digi News Twitter handle or mine, which is PR Pro San Diego. Viva Mexico!
My UK boxing brother, EJ Boxing Live, joining us live from the UK right now. Still buzzing over Anthony Joshua's win over Klitschko. For folks who want to talk the sweet science, for folks who want to talk basketball or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yeah, EJ Boxing Live here on Instagram. You catch me on that. You can catch me on Twitter. They're the things. And obviously you catch me on YouTube. Just like a little thing in there, Freddie Roach told me that the contract for Miguel Cotto comeback will be announced. He'll be fighting undefeated Japanese fighter, and then after that, the contract is signed for Triple G, and that will be happening later on this year. So Triple G and Cotto will be coming soon. Obviously, Freddie told me it's already done. It's a done deal. HBO's already done it. So maybe Triple G fights someone else like a Lemieux before that. But that fight between Cotto and Triple G will happen because Freddie Roach believes that after the Jacobs fight, they believe Cotto's got the movement and he can do it. And also they'll probably put a clause where maybe he comes in a bit lighter. They make Triple G, because Triple G did say he can come down to 154. So maybe they try and bring it down a weight where it's easy. It's either Cotto, but Cotto's is the biggest sell. So that's definitely going to happen. So catch me Instagram, catch me on Twitter, EJ Boxing Live. My hangout this Saturday on the Cello Caneva fight, post fight review. So yeah, you catch me there.
Now that would be interesting considering all roads I thought led to Triple G and Canelo finally getting happening. But you're telling a different stories. And yeah, that's a surprising development there. Uh, brother Bo from Truth and Facts in Boxing, brother Daniel from the Inscriber. For folks who want to talk the sweet science, Bo for folks who want to follow the adventures with you and your daughter. That's a YouTube series in the making. Let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yeah, you can find me at Truth and Facts About Boxing. You can also find me at the Movement Podcast with my man, Twana Devon Levy from Hoop Jab, Big Cool from Colossal Boxing, my partner in crime, Bernard, and 2K the God from the Gods of Boxing Talk. You can also find me right here on Pound for Pound with this great and wonderful panel. You can also catch me on Twitter at capital T for Truth, _ capital F for FactBox1. And you can also catch me on Instagram at Truth _ FactBox1. And like he was saying, you can also catch me getting the human version of Tom and Jerry with me and my daughter. But she always comes out the winner at the end some kind of way. And also, wherever they're talking boxing, wherever they're doing good, you can catch me there. And if everything goes right, hopefully you'll see us next Thursday. Well, Gail will have on the Chavez Jr. shirt, greatest Mexican of all time, and she'll be rocking that instead of that gold belt around her shoulder.
Dream on. Dream on.
Daniel from the Inscriber magazine for folks who want to talk the sweet science or the NBA, specifically the Miami Heat, or politics on Twitter. Let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yes, folks, you can find me at Ruckus99 on Twitter. Like I said, gonna do a probably good preview before tomorrow about this fight if Peter Clark doesn't beat me to it. And like I said, I do shows normally. I think we do between Sunday and Wednesday with Joe Francis from 4boxingnews.com, who joined us here occasionally. And oh man, if the hate between these two men lives up in that fight, we're gonna have literally 2 weeks where we've just seen two of the best fights in a long time.
Indeed. Before I give my little spiel on myself again, as I stated earlier in the show, Jacob, who's usually on the show, I want to give condolences, thoughts, and prayers to him as he lost, I believe, he lost a family member today. I want to say his grandfather passed away today. So again, thoughts and prayers, our condolences to him. For folks who want to talk the sweet science or music or anything else with me, you know what it is. Brother JR on Twitter at Brother JR76. As I stated at the beginning of the show, if you want to find out all things about Pound for Pound Boxing Report, please go to the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. Check the right of the page. You'll find links to the pages on Facebook, G+, Tumblr, Twitter, and also links to where to listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Player FM, Stitcher Radio. On the next episode, we will do a recap of Canelo and Chavez Jr., as well as some of the other bouts on their cards. David Lemieux is fighting, as Gail mentioned earlier. I believe Jojo Diaz is fighting on that card as well. And I know we didn't talk about it here, but Joseph Parker making his first defense of the WBO heavyweight title. Didn't talk about it because, quite frankly, I don't know much about his opponent. But I plan on catching the fight this weekend, and we will do a recap of that. Also, we would do a preview of boxing, whatever may be happening in and around that weekend of the 12th. Not much is happening. I know Kalia Fly is defending his belt, junior bantamweight belt, for the first time. We may preview that and any other boxing event that's happening in and around that period. So again, for Gail from Community Digital News, from Bo from Truth and Facts About Boxing, from the brother EJ Boxing Live, join us live from the UK, for Daniel from the Inscriber, I'm your host, Michael. This has been episode 168 of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Joshua Klitschko recap, arguably the fight of the year, best heavyweight fight in a long, long time. I've watched it multiple times over, and I'm going to continue to watch it until I get tired, which I will never get tired of watching it. So yeah, that is the fight. That is the fight of the. I would argue that is the fight of the year, given the impact of it and the significance of it. So yeah, 168 is in the books. Episode 168 is in the books. We will see you guys next time. Everyone have a good evening. Good night.